Good afternoon. How's everyone doing today? Welcome. Well, it's great to be here speaking with you today. For those that don't know me or my team, you've made my day. And the reason I say that is my name is Brendan Idelson. I run the support team at Zoom, and we're a 24/7 global organization that is always trying to deliver happiness for our customers and deliver the best support possible. But we know the best support is when you never need support. We want to be that repair person who is there, on call, available if you need us, but we never want you to need to make that call. Now, I could talk about the support organization at Zoom for a while. Being the son of a college professor, it could become a long lecture, and I won't do that. This is Zoomtopia. This is our opportunity to come together as peers and to collaborate and share learnings and really get to know one another and how we've leveraged the platform to make communication frictionless. So with that, I've told a little bit about myself, but I really like to know who we have here. So I'd actually like to start up with a question, and hopefully we can do a raising of hands here. So who's right now in that beginning phase of their Zoom deployment, either evaluating the product or in POC? All right, we got a few there. Wonderful. And how about folks that are 6 months in to rolling it out? Awesome. Great crowd there. All right, and we'll go on to the 12-month group. Brilliant. How about 24 months? Awesome. And how about those that have been with us for 36 or longer? Brilliant, and thank you. Really appreciate having you on the platform. Now, there's a range of us in this room, and we're at various stages of our journey, but there's something consistent about all of us. We're all looking at how do we make the experience frictionless for our customers and our end users so that they are empowered to communicate every single day. Now, with that, I've been with Zoom for about 4 years, picked up a few tips and tricks, working with the fine folks that are in this room and others. And what I'd like to do today is go into some of those lessons learned, some of those things that we've seen that really optimize that experience, and then close it out with a question section and a sort of ask me anything, which is always a fun portion. So we have our rough agenda about what we're going to cover today, and let's dive in. Now, this session was titled Happy End Users Equals Happy IT. Happiness is a broad term, so I'd like to do an exercise. So I'd like everyone to close their eyes for a moment and picture what brings you happiness. I'm sure there are pictures of moments, people. Let's focus that a little bit. Let's think about services, products, things. Let's focus in on that. What were those items? Why did that bring us happiness? What were those experiences that led to those moments? So we'll go ahead and open our eyes now. We've got a large crowd, so it's a little bit hard to ask everyone. So I think about a conversation where I did this exercise with my good friend Gerard, who manages IT. And when he closed his eyes and thought about it, the thing that he came back with was his car. Absolutely loves it. It's his vehicle. He got to choose the color, all the upgrades, all the functionality. And it's not just that it gets him from point A to B, but it's really that experience of driving. It's his environment, his personalization, and everything that he wanted to do. And with that, it kind of leads into one of the first recommendations that I have with Zoom, which is our Vanity URL feature. Now, for those that aren't familiar with this feature, this is where you can apply to get a name such as success.zoom.us, mycompany.zoom.us, to be that landing site for your organization. I kind of think of it as that vanity plate that my friend Gerard has for his car. Now, once you enable this, it actually opens up a wide range of options on the platform. You get access to branding, single sign-on to integrate it within your organization, and it really empowers a lot of things. Now, I could go on slides of this, but let's actually go into a demo. So right now, I've actually applied for a Vanity URL. And for all the demos today, we talked about huddle rooms in some of the earlier keynotes, so I'm going to pretend my company is huddlehappy.com. So I've actually applied for a Vanity URL, huddlehappy.zoom.us. And this is an easy item to access just under Account Profile, Vanity URL, and you can see that it's already been approved here. Now, once that's turned on, like I said, you get access to a number of features across the product. And one of the items that I really like is when we come down to the end here, and we can go into the advanced. And number one, we can set up our single sign-on. So if you have a unified login across your organization, one click, you can configure that so that folks don't need to remember another username and password. It's integrated into their existing workflows so that it's a seamless user experience. I can easily get into Zoom. The other thing, which we love seeing the creativity, is what people do with the branding. This is that opportunity to choose if it's a red Corvette or what color and how you want to appear. So right now, I've got the standard branding. Quick ability to join a meeting, I can sign in, but you know what, I want to jazz this up. We're at Zoomtopia, it's space themed. So I know a little bit of HTML, and so I have the main landing page here, and while I can generally type pretty quickly, I did a little bit of coding in advance, but little HTML, little CSS, copy this over, paste it over, and we can instantly take that landing page from one level to a whole different level in just a few clicks. All the images that you see there are hosted on Zoom. You can actually upload those under the Image tab and completely customize it. Now, this is the landing page. We can go further there. If you notice, that branding tab had a few other options. So, talked about how I can upload images. Or the other one is that I can change the cascading style sheets of the page. And this actually lets you completely customize the Zoom interface. Now, there's a few different examples that I've seen of this where folks have actually changed all the colors of the Zoom links or things, but one of the common requests that we get is some folks want to use internal guides and want to remove this little box here on the lower left-hand side. With the power of CSS, we can actually inspect that element. Now, I actually have it memorized on my computer. So let me go here, and that's our ZM side nav alert. I can set it to hidden, hit save, and then it helps if I get rid of the period. And it looks like it's taking a moment to update here, but at that point, it would typically disappear from screen. So with the branding and SSO, we really can customize that experience so that when users are navigating Zoom, it's the look and feel of your company, the workflow, the brand. It's exactly the experience that they're expecting, and it's customized to them. Just like being able to choose the vehicle that you want and how you customize it, this naturally gets it integrated into your workflow. So now we've got this great landing site to drive people. Well, how do we get them there, and how do we encourage them to be on that site? So the next feature that I would love to dive into is managed domain. With managed domain, what you can do is tell Zoom that you own a certain domain name. For me, it's zoom.us, or in this example, huddlehappy.com. And by establishing the ownership of that domain, that triggers a number of additional features. It means that anyone with one of those matching domains can instantly be brought into your account. And also, since we now trust that domain, it enables features where we can pre-activate users and make it a seamless user experience. Now, applying for this is actually something that is completely automated that you can do with just a few mouse clicks. So if we go back to our account management and our account profile, we have the option down here of Manage Domain. As soon as I go down here, I can put in my managed domain. So my huddlehappy.com. To say that I want to, that I have an ownership of that. Now at that point, key step is saying how that you want to verify it. You have the option of either doing it yourself, using either changing a DNS record, uploading something to your website, or adding some code to your company's main page. And as soon as you do that, it will immediately go through and enable this feature for your account. You can also click that fourth option there, which is to allow our support team to do the validation manually and turn it on for you. So I'll go ahead and ask my team to go take a look at it. It'll take them a moment or two. Hopefully they're going to see that request and do it a little bit quicker for me. But once they've done that process, what will happen is when I go to my user management, I'll go from the one user that I have there right now to everyone that has ever applied for a free account. And why this is extremely beneficial is for those that have deployed initially and have been on the platform for a little while, how many would say that the deployment went faster than anticipated? Maybe had a viral nature in your organization, where folks were starting to apply on their own. I started to see a few hands there. So with Managed Domain, you're able to automatically bring them into your account to make sure that they are within your account, fully managed, and you have complete visibility of them. Now, the other advantage of once Managed Domain is turned on is since we know your account and that you have full control over it, we turn on some additional features under the Security tab. Coming from a background where I worked in the government sector and in the financial sector, security is something that's very important to me. So this is one of my favorite tabs here, because what you can do when you go down here and have Managed Domain turned on is you'll notice that I can actually enable and disable different sign-in methods. And with SSO signed on, I can actually say if someone signs on with huddlehappy.com, they have to use my single sign-on, and there is no other way to log in. So this is encouraging folks to use the authentication method that you want, ensuring that they're in your account, and again, leading to that seamless experience so when anyone tries to access Zoom, they're automatically in your ecosystem. So we've gone ahead, brought our users in that apply on the end. They have this great interface. Well, what else can we do? There are a range of deployment options for the Zoom technology, and this is something that we've been doing a lot with in recent years. And this initially started off with options such as install options. For those on the Windows side, you might think about MSI deployments. And on the Mac, being able to add a plist. So from a centralized location, you could use a deployment technology to push the Zoom client out across your entire organization and pre-configure it. Now, we talked about that viral nature, and we're aware that some organizations maybe don't have a centralized software deployment technology. So we've been enhancing that with time and even adding the capability now where folks can centrally manage those client settings through other deployment technology. Now, since a lot of folks I know are on the Windows side, we'll go ahead and jump into a Windows demo here. So I'll go between the Mac and the Windows side. Now, on this one, I've actually gone online already and done a search for mass deployment on the Zoom Support Center. You notice that the first two articles that come up is one for PC and one for Mac that mention all the options that you can configure. Now on the PC side, if you're using something like group policy to set policies on your systems, the process of configuring is pretty simple. So I will pull up my group policy object editor. You can see I'm already in the Zoom settings. This is an ADM file that you can actually download from that template. And once you're in here, you can actually adjust the behavior of the Zoom client. Now there's a full range of options that folks can see here. Some of the popular ones that we see, for example, is let's say that you do centralized pushes of software and you don't want folks to be able to update the Zoom client on their own or to even be notified that there's a newer version of the client installed. With one click, you can change the setting so that it will no longer do those software checks. The other things that we can do is we can actually modify the interface. So right now, if I look at my Zoom client on this machine and try to sign in, even though I haven't signed in at all, I've never connected to the cloud, you notice that there's a few different login methods. I naturally want to direct users down a set path. So what I can actually do here is I'll go ahead and close my Zoom client. And you know what? I don't want them to log in with Google, and I don't want them to log in with Facebook. Again, I want to direct them down a certain path. And with that, as soon as I start my Zoom client again and sign in, notice my buttons have disappeared. I've shown just a few options, which are some of the common ones, but the amount of control that you have over the client, as you saw there, well over 20 to 30 options, going from little UI changes like this to being able to control the security. For our clients in the financial sector, for example, the ability to completely disable file sharing, turning off certain video options. Maybe you want to encourage computer-based audio in your organization, so you want the machine to automatically be able to join the audio to encourage VoIP over phone call. All of that is configurable through these settings. And everything that we've shown here on the PC, you can do on the Mac as well. And the thing that is nice about this isn't at time of install. This is something you can push out through your group policy or through those plist at any time. And even if someone downloads the Zoom client from the website, it will automatically inherit those settings and apply them to the system at the time of first run. So again, giving you that control and ability to make sure that your end user community has that great experience when they're using the product and platform, even from day one. So we've got a landing site. We've got it deployed. We've got them on the platform. Is it done? Is everyone happy? Naturally, there's more to go, and since we have a range of folks here, continuously improving the user experience is critical. Now, earlier today, you saw a number of folks talk about the integrations in our Zoom marketplace. And the marketplace is an area that we have growing, and it excites me. It's one of those things that it is growing so quickly that it excites me. I'm going to take a break here, and just 150 for something that we only introduced a year ago, and it continues to grow. And where this is extremely powerful is it's allowing our users to access Zoom within their native applications. Now think about this in your end user experience. We don't have people on swivel chairs so that they can go from one thing to another thing all day. So why do we ask them to do that with their software? By using the native integrations, we can actually give them the power to communicate within the apps that they're using every day within one workflow. Now, We saw that earlier today with business productivity suites, such as our integrations on the Microsoft and Google side, which Abhishek talked about. The ability to use file sharing technology to do that as well. Vi in Zoom Phone was showing how we can do that with our Salesforce. And then naturally, we also had the conversation with the Zoom Room section showing with ServiceNow. All of these are tremendous integrations that help ease that user experience. Now, since a lot of folks here are within the IT space, I naturally go to an example that's dear to my heart, which is the experience of a support professional. They come in, they get a ticket about an issue, and they want to help that user run it beginning to end to make sure they're helping address it. Now, they could call them, they could email them, but what we have here is we actually have a Zoom integration immediately within the ticket system. So with one click, they can actually schedule a meeting. This one is showing the time and date of not just the person that is assisting on this issue, but the end user who actually submitted the ticket, because we're able to see that. And as soon as they click Save here to schedule this event, it will automatically reach out to Zoom, schedule it, put in the meeting link so that they can quickly join at that scheduled time. On top of it, with the integration that we're showing here, as soon as that meeting is over, maybe it's a screen share to troubleshoot or dig further in, this will record all the details of who was in that meeting, the timestamps of the meeting, and if they recorded it, a quick link to the recording of the meeting that transpired. So you've got a single pane of glass with access to everything. This creates a lot of power that folks can easily and frictionlessly communicate thanks to the power of integrations. Now, with those integrations, they span the business and start creating value not just within the IT organization, but everywhere. Whether that's the marketing team is maybe using our integrations for the webinars to get leads and information off of webinars that they run and instantly running into marketing integration. IT groups are using it to maybe do the service desk or being able to integrate with their IDP to do dynamic user provisioning and deprovisioning. It spans the entire market of what can be done. But where the integrations is really powerful is it's a framework, and it allows a lot of options. Now, this is great for those business flows that fit those integrations, but what do we do if it's a little different? What if it's an internal process that we have? So what I like to think about is at Zoom, we celebrate every single time someone comes onto the platform. So we actually have a chat channel within our organization that we call our congrats. And every time someone signs up, we want to share that. But how we share that, there's a few different ways. And one of the things that we do is within our local offices, since we're a global organization, is we like to ring a gong to celebrate a new person coming onto the platform. Now you notice that I have a gong here. Do I have a volunteer who'd be interested in ringing this? Anyone? Well, the question becomes, how do we take something like this, which is a process surrounded around joy and that within an office, and bring that not just to that office, but to the global stage? And with a simple hit of the gong, you can see we got an instant webhook in notifying it. Now, this is a fun demo, just showing quickly what the possible is. But think about what we've done here. This is a custom business process where I rang a physical device with a very small piece of hardware, a Raspberry Pi for those that are enjoy the space. And then this is the one that I'm very proud of. Everything you just saw was done in that code. That's it. Now think about what you can do with that to add value to the business. Imagine for your sales leaders being able to rally the team and see details of each deal as they close. Imagine your security group being able to get an instant notification with contextual data about a security item coming up immediately in a chatbot to their group. What about your physical facilities team being able to know if one of their systems alerts? All of this is possible just with the incoming webhook app that is in our marketplace. And it takes a few lines of code like that. And all I need to do is in a channel, say incoming webhook, connect, if I can spell. And we'll call this the Zoomtopia webhook. And we'll give it a moment. And it's already told me to add a new webhook to that channel. Here's the endpoint, here's the authorization code, and given me an example. A little bit of effort, and you've already added a custom integration for your business that is catered to you and is fully customizable. Now, this is just scratching the surface of what you can do with the APIs. So for those that are interested in diving deeper, I highly encourage you to look at the marketplace and look at the developer documentation there. The marketplace has a full range of docs, so if we go there, and with one click, you can go to Develop and Documentation, and it outlines all the different ways that you can integrate Zoom to build richer experiences. And we're seeing amazing creativity with the marketplace. One organization that I was speaking with recently actually has been working with this to integrate Zoom within their incident response system. So immediately when they start an incident response, their system reaches out to Zoom, schedules a meeting dynamically, brings it up, and gives them one-click access to a war room virtually to help with their global organization when they are dealing with an incident. We have other folks that really like our SDKs, and they want to embed Zoom within their product and use it as an integrated feature. All of these are capable. The one that really excites me, though, and I think you heard Oded talking about it earlier on stage, is data and being able to use that. Through the APIs, you can access the rich amount of data that you see throughout the Zoom platform, through the reports, the dashboard, and can start leveraging that to go deeper and gain insights. I think of a few of our larger enterprises that have actually started taking that data and mining it to help improve their own processes. Think about it. For every Zoom meeting on that dashboard, we're recording packet loss, network jitter, and performance statistics. Network teams are actually now taking that data, putting it into a data warehouse, and able to analyze their network in real time because their entire user community is now a sensor for their network. You also have the ability to look at how rooms are being used and leveraged to see facility utilization and dynamically help determine where to allocate resources. So there's a lot of power in the API, and it's really up to your creativity on how far you can go with it. So, a lot of things that we covered today, but all of these were really just starting to scratch the surface of some tips and tricks related to the system to help ensure a great user experience. Because if our users are having an amazing experience with Zoom and getting value, naturally those that are rolling out and are implementing it are having a great experience, and naturally we at Zoom love that as well. So with that, love to take any and all questions about what was presented here or anything else. PowerShell SDK, not quite yet, but we'll take the note on that one. Thank you.
I'm a little bit worried, though, as your company grows, that you will decide that you're going to offshore your support to, say, the Philippines, which is a real source of contention for our company. We just don't ever get good support from you, for whatever reason. People, training, and it just doesn't work out. Do you have plans to offshore any of your support?
So when we look at our support, we really are focused on the customer experience. So whenever we're making decisions about how we're delivering it and where we're leveraging around the world, it is always with that user experience first and foremost. So right now, we actually do have a globally distributed support team. Now, a large contingent of that is within the US, but we do have a number of international locations. But for our customers, we want to make sure that we are getting them to the right agent that would have the right skill set so that they always have that great experience. That's part of the reason why, as a support leader, I actually report directly up to our CEO because that's how critical it is for our organization.
I would just recommend that if you ever do start pushing stuff away, that there's a channel for somebody to get back to native support. Just instead of arguing with that tech support person for 15 minutes about how to get to the better support option. Or at least let us pay for it or something. Because as an IT person supporting hundreds of users, I can't be stuck somewhere where the person just doesn't know the answer.
No, makes complete sense, and that is never the experience that we want, and that's why we encourage the conversation and feedback. Brilliant.
Is there any way inside the platform for me to actually, because I'll have 30, 40 people log on to a meeting. Most of them are lucky to turn on the computer. So whenever they're trying to call me and tell me that my mic isn't working, my system, I can't get through this or that, is there any way from my computer to get onto their Zoom and actually just fix it for them? Because just telling them how to do it is impossible.
It's something that we're looking at what options are available to help optimize that. Stay tuned and more to come. But that user experience is something that we focus in a lot of the time. The challenge that I actually give to every member of my support team is work yourselves out of a job. And part of their fulfilling that is really looking at every single aspect of the user experience and going, where are we getting the questions? What are those cases? So that we can go back to our designers and product team and really refocus in on it. So some folks might have noticed specifically for that use case now that actually for first-time joins, it now is starting to launch a wizard to help do the audio setup, to help with that, to help reduce that friction. And we're continuing to improve, but love the feedback and stay tuned, more to come.
We always like to be proactive in support. You guys have alerts in Zoom rooms, things go bad sometimes. When is that going to become real time?
So that's an item that we're looking at bringing closer and closer to real time. Right now, specifically for Zoom rooms, part of the reason that you do sometimes see a momentary delay for that is we want to make sure that an alert condition, we see it for a sequence of time so that we're not necessarily flooding with momentary blips of an alert. And so it's something that we are actively working and tuning, and I think you'll see that further and further reduce, and being able to action it is an area that we're really diving into. Probably saw with Jeff earlier today, the ServiceNow integration, for example, how that was instantly able to go from a Zoom room alert into the system to help get ahead of an issue, and we are going to continue to dive further into that space. Excellent. Thank you.
About the Vanity URL, we're just getting started about a month in. When I applied for the Vanity URL, I did the organization name and realized it's kind of long. And I reapplied for applying to shorten it to make it different. The response that I got was
No, right now the requirement is that it needs to match your domain name. And part of the reason that we actually do that is by matching your domain name, we ensure that there aren't conflicts in the future that maybe someone else grabbed your organization's name. So by doing it as matching a domain name, we ensure that it wasn't taken by someone else. We're welcome to feedback on that process, but that's part of the reason why we did that. And also from an end user experience, going from your website that has a certain URL to instantly see that same sort of URL format leads to that consistency. I saw a question here, and then we'll jump over here. Yep.
Two-factor authentication, is that on the roadmap?
Great question. So for two-factor, there's a few ways that you can approach it. First off, you can do it through an external service using SSO. But if you are interested in two-factor within Zoom natively, we do have a preview feature available. Just submit a support ticket and we'd be happy to turn it on for you. Excellent. There's a question over here.
What ticketing system do you currently integrate with your service now? Like you mentioned, being able to schedule support.
So the demo that you were seeing there was our Zendesk integration. And they are here and have a booth upstairs. Any other questions? Yes.
I have a question. I want to echo what the gentleman said. My company's been with Zoom for 6 years now, and the reason we're with Zoom is because of the customer service. So I just want to go on the record and say the customer service is great. Don't change it. It's why we're here.
Thank you. That means a lot, and it's an area that it is a bar as we grow that we want to keep that bar and raise that bar, and love that feedback to know that we're heading in the right direction and want to continue driving that way. Brilliant. Sorry. Yeah, so the question was about API support and the form versus the technical support. Yes, we are continuing with the marketplace growth to build out the form, and then also our technical support team. We do have a number of API experts on it, and that's something that as that continues to grow, we'll be adding more resources to be a full support organization for that as well.
If you build an embedded app and use your API, you go to this redirect thing. Is there a way to go directly to the site without this app?
It depends on how you're doing the integration, and if we're talking about if you want to have your website loading the Zoom app, or if you want to embed Zoom within your executable. So within your executable, we do have the SDKs and APIs so that you can natively put it in and then immediately jump into that component.
Okay, so you don't have to go to this redirect.
Exactly. And that would be something on your app, developing the framework to know which meeting to connect to, then through the APIs, passing the meeting information.
But that would require the Vanity URL thing too, I guess, right?
Actually, for that one, you could do it without the Vanity URL, and it's something that we could deep dive into. No worries. Yep.
Do you guys have training documentation or training videos for like users that aren't very computer savvy for using it? We were kind of developing our own, but also wasn't figured we probably already have that built or.
So we have a few things that are going on there. First off, on the support website, support.zoom.us, about midway down the page, we actually have 1-minute videos on some of the most common functionality that literally walks through scheduling a meeting, joining the meeting for the first time, so folks have a visible way to look at that and see what that experience would look like. We're also doing multiple sessions each day. If you go to zoom.us/events, that talks about our online webinars for folks that want to do a sort of a live session for training. So we're doing a mix of recorded videos and live. Thank you.
Sort of the opposite of that, are you going to be offering like administrative training through that portal?
Definitely, definitely. So on those list of events, they do run administrator training sessions. They're not quite as often, but they are scheduled there. And then we also do have a number of documents, and we're expanding that. It's something that we have a few other options as well, and happy to deep dive on that one with you. When you say so makes sense. So you'd ideally like to have the link go out and just say zoom.us and not the vanity. The answer is yes. You can actually remove the vanity from the front, and that link will continue to work. I'd love to dive in on that one. So, but with that, I would love to dive in. I see that my time, though, has hit. So I will be around. I also have one of my other support managers here. So any questions, love it. And thank you so much for being here. Thank you.